Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rhiannon and today I'm going to be filming my TBR for the Make Your Myth Taker readathon. If you don't know, this is a month-long readathon hosted by Ashley and Charlotte. Of course, I will leave all their details linked down below. Please check them both out, they're absolutely amazing. And the work that they've put into this readathon is absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's crazy. It is a month-long readathon throughout the month of June, and you basically get to choose a certain path that you want to follow, and the premise is that you build your own character and sort of make their own backstory by these certain paths that you take, if that makes sense. I'm not good at explaining this. If you do want more information, please check out Ashley's video. Again, it'll be linked down below for you guys where she explains everything perfectly. So I have chosen to be a witch slash courtier, and I think I'm going the unconventional route. So I am not switching halfway through one path, I'm doing two full paths, if that makes sense. So in total I'm doing 8 prompts because these two paths have 4 prompts each, and those two paths will help my character reach her end goal. So I'm just going to read the story for my character that I've come up with, and then we'll get into my TBR. Witches have been persecuted in this kingdom for centuries, and they have finally had enough. My witch is set on a task to infiltrate the royal court by becoming a courtier. By doing so, she will gain access to the court's darkest secrets, and she will ultimately use these against the royal household to get them to change their views against the witches. So I am starting off with the witch path, and the first prompt for that is to read a book featuring an animal. I have chosen Shadow Black by Sebastian de Castell. I recently read the first book, Spellslinger, for the Readathon, which was a 24-hour readathon hosted by Jay from JD Ray Reads. I have vlogged that, so I will leave the link down below, but I immediately wanted to jump into the second book, and this prompt basically put it on a plate for me, so thank you, Ashley and Charlotte. I don't know how to say the animal's name. I think it's Rasic, but I'm not too sure. But it is this little squirrel cat on the top, and he had quite a big role to play in the first book, and I'm guessing he does so in this one too. I can't tell you much about this because it is the second book in a series, but in the first one, Spellslinger, we follow Kellen, who is training to become a mage. However, his 16th birthday is approaching and he doesn't have any magic. And in this society that is basically based on your ability to perform magic, that is quite a problem. So it's all about Kellen trying to overcome this and to get his way into being a mage in order to please his father and secure their position in this society. However, things don't go as smoothly as he would like, and a few key characters are introduced to help Kellen get to where he needs to be. I'm very excited for this one, and I'm glad that it's my first read of the readathon. Next up, I need to read a book with a foiled cover, and since MythTake is a book club about retellings, how could I not choose a retelling of the Trojan War, which is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. This is one that I actually bought on Ashley's recommendation, so it's kind of fitting that I read it in her readathon. I don't know much about this book, but I do know, like I said, it's a retelling of the Trojan War, but from the woman's perspective. We follow the girls, women and goddesses that have been affected throughout these 10 years. And as you can see, it is a stunning cover with incredible foiling. This is another one that I'm just so excited to get through. I've been meaning to pick it up for so long, and I'm glad that I have an excuse to pick it up now because I feel like I'm gonna absolutely love this book. A similar one that I read last year, I think, was The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker, which also follows the women affected by the Trojan War, and I love that one so much. So I feel like this might be a new favourite. Next up, I need to read a book featuring a magic battle. And I'm pretty sure I've heard Becca from Becca and the Book say that this book does include a magic battle, but that book is A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I don't know if this is the best choice because I read the first book 2 years ago, I think, and that was on a coach going to and from Edinburgh, which was about 14 hours of travel time in total. But because it was 2 years ago, I don't really remember that much from the first story. I remember key things, but I feel like I might need to watch some reviews of the first book just to get me back in the swing of things. But this is another one that I've put off for years, basically. Like I said, it's been 2 years since I read the first one. I had intentions of picking this one up straight away, and of course I never did. So I wanted to pop it on here so I can finally get through this series because I absolutely love V.E. Schwab. She is one of my favourite authors, and I feel like it's a bit rude to have not read this book, to be honest with you. Again, I can't tell you that much about this book because it is the second book in a series, but the first book in this trilogy is A Darker Shade of Magic, and it follows another Cal, which is funny. I've got two books with main characters called Cal, but Cal is an Antari, which means he can travel between different worlds, and in this case the worlds are 4 different Londons. So we have Black London, which is like a no-go zone. I think magic took over and people cannot travel there anymore. We have Grey London, which I think is the poor London, if that makes sense. Then we have White London, and that is where magic reigns. It's quite an evil place, but we do see quite a bit of it in the first book. And then we have Red London, where our main character Cal is from, and he has basically been taken in by the royal family of Red London, so that's where he is based in a way. But one day Cal does something he shouldn't, and he takes a relic. I think that is an entry point into Black London, and so he is hunted throughout all these different Londons. But on the way, he is pickpocketed by Miss Lila Bard, who does, of course, steal this relic, and Cal needs to go after it to basically sort this whole thing out. So it's all about both of them teaming up, trying to find out what this means, and trying to make sure that no one else gets their hands on this relic. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, I did read the first one 2 years ago, so my memory is not the best. I do need to refresh before diving into this, but that's the basic premise. And then lastly, for my path to becoming a witch, I need to read a book with occult themes, and for that one I have gone for The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This is Books with Chloe's Patreon book of the month, so I wanted to fit this in somewhere, and luckily we have the perfect prompt for it. In this, our main character Rin is a gravedigger. However, the dead people in this community don't stay dead. The risen corpses are known as bone houses, and it's thought that they are the result of a curse. Rin then embarks on a journey into the mountains to try and break this curse, but she does have to face both the curse and the deeply buried truths about herself. And I just want to read a tiny little section of the synopsis because I feel like it just sounds amazing. It says, "Equal parts classic horror novel and original fairy tale, The Bone Houses will have you spellbound from the very first page." So yes, I'm very, very excited for this one. It's another one I've had on my TBR for a while. I was planning to read it around Halloween, but I now have an excuse to read it a bit earlier than anticipated. So when I manage to read all those books, I will officially be a full witch, and it'll be time for me to start infiltrating the court as a courtier. In order to do that, the first prompt that I need to complete is to read a book with a big cast of characters. After seeing my last few picks, it's going to be no surprise that I've picked this one because, again, I've been meaning to read this since I read the first book in the series in January, and I fell in love with it so much. But for some reason, I've never got around to the second book in this trilogy. So for this prompt, I'm going to be reading King's Bane by Claire Legrand. Like I said, I fell in love with Furyborn. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It's one of those stories where it just hit me and I could not stop myself from reading it. I read it in 2 days, I think, and it's a chunky book like this one. I am anticipating to get through this quite quickly, and also a lot of people have said that this book is better than the first one. So I'm really highly anticipating this. If you don't know, we are following 2 different timelines. So we follow Queen Riel, who is the Blood Queen, and we also follow Eliana centuries later, who is thought to be the Sun Queen. So we have 2 queens separated by thousands of years, and of course each queen has her own little entourage and companions, let's say. I don't really want to tell you what the synopsis is about because I feel like it's best going in not knowing anything, and I honestly don't know how to describe it because it's just crazy. When you hear the synopsis it sounds so weird, but reading the book it's just absolutely amazing. But the basic premise is that long ago there was a prophecy saying that there will be a Blood Queen who will destroy the world and a Sun Queen who will save the world. But they don't know who these queens are. All they know is that these queens will be able to master all 7 types of magic. And in the first book, during an event that puts the Crown Prince's life in danger, Riel steps in to save him and reveals that she has a few different types of magic that she can control. However, people need to determine if she is the Blood Queen or the Sun Queen by setting her some different trials that she needs to complete. So it's not set in stone who these queens are. It's thought that Riel is the Blood Queen and that Eliana is the Sun Queen, but of course we have 2 more books to go. So, you know, you've got to keep an open mind, but it's crazy. It's got angels in it, which is really strange but also really cool. And yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about it now because I'm doing an awful job at explaining what it is. The next prompt is to read a book featuring royal colours, and I've gone for Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, and this has a lot of red on the cover, which is one of the royal colours. I'm honestly ashamed that I haven't read this yet. Again, I read the first book in this series last year at some point. I think it was when there was a readathon going on for this series and I wanted to join in, so I read the first book, which is Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and I never picked up the second one. I think I was just feeling a bit slumpy. I got 7 pages in, if you'd like to know that. My bookmark is still in there, so I will be going back to the start and starting this fresh. But in the first book we follow a girl named Carew, who I believe has some sort of magic. Again, I can't quite remember. I will need to read some reviews, and I don't want to have to reread the first one because I feel like I do remember most things, but just I feel like important details might have slipped my mind. Carew is a little bit different because her family are Chimera, which are these weird mythical creatures, and they have basically brought her up her whole life. However, one day Carew finds out something that will change her life forever, and that is because an angel takes an interest in her and basically forces her to discover the truth about herself. The next prompt is to continue a series, and for that one I've gone for Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. If you don't know, I've recently started reading this series. I've only ever read the first book in the series, so all these are new reads and new experiences, and so I am vlogging my experience reading this. I'm up to the 3rd book, which is this one, and I cannot wait. I feel like this will be a nice little break as well, where I can sit down and fly through it in one sitting. It's going to be a nice little refresher because all the other books that I have are quite long, dense fantasies, and this is going to be just really fun and quick. I don't want to talk too much about this because I feel like everyone knows what Percy Jackson is about. A boy named Percy finds out that he is a demigod, which means he is half human and half god, and one day certain events happen that lead him to Camp Half-Blood, which is a training facility for the children of these gods. And once there, Percy finds out that Zeus actually thinks that he stole his lightning bolt. This then sets in motion a series of events that lead to Percy going on a quest to basically prove his innocence and retrieve the lightning bolt for Zeus. It's fastly becoming one of my favourite series. I absolutely love it so much, and yeah, I can't wait to continue. And we've finally come to the last prompt, which is to read a host favourite, and how could I not read The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon? This is Ashley's favourite book. Samantha Shannon is one of her favourite authors, and I feel bad that I haven't read this yet. I've met Samantha Shannon. I've actually got this one signed to me. I met her at Yalc 2 years ago, I think. I got about 70 pages into this and for some reason put it down. I think I was trying to read a load of different books before Yalc, before meeting the authors, and so I started reading this, but I think only managed about 70 pages before the event started, and then I never picked it back up. I don't know why, but it's a common theme here apparently. I was going to read this for Ashley's Bonathon readathon for this series, but again, I never did. I think I was intimidated because they're quite big and I just had a lot of stuff going on at that time, so I'm dedicated now. I've mentioned it in my TBR, it's going to be done. This is the first book in what's going to be a 7-book series, I think, by Samantha Shannon. I don't know that much about it, to be honest with you. People are quite vague. They tell you just to go into it and experience it for yourself. All I know is that it's about clairvoyance, and our main character, Paige, is a powerful dreamwalker who is operating in the 7 Dials of London. However, clairvoyance and everything along those lines are banned in this world, and you could be prosecuted if you're found out. So I'm guessing it's all about this corrupt government and the society in which people are forced to live in. I really did enjoy it when I first read it, just put it down and never carried on, and I'm kicking myself for it, but hopefully I will be ending this readathon on a high by reading Ashley's favourite book. So that is it for my TBR. 8 books isn't too bad, so I think I'll be okay, but they are quite chunky, so we'll see. I do just want to say quickly, I am sorry that my descriptions of these books has been awful. I'm actually not in the best state right now. I'm not feeling too good. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but my head is pounding. I have such bad hay fever at the minute that I'm just all disgusting and I feel really bad and my head feels so heavy. So I am really sorry that my descriptions and that haven't been good. I have been putting off filming this because I obviously wanted to film this when I was better, but unfortunately as the days have gone on I've just been getting worse. So yeah, I'm sorry if this video has been a mess, but that is basically why. It's because my head is just all over the place at the minute and it's pounding. Please do let me know down below if you are participating in this readathon. I'm so nosy and I can't wait to watch everyone's TBRs and see what you guys are reading. I also just want to thank Ashley and Charlotte for coming up with this readathon because I know how much work has gone into it and oh my goodness, it shows. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad to be taking part. It's gonna make June go by a whole lot faster and it's gonna make this month of quarantine a little better for me. And like I said, I will leave the links to both of their socials down below, so please check them out and give them all the love because they really do deserve it. So these are all the books that I plan to read for the Make Your Myth Taker readathon. I have a really good colour scheme going here, which wasn't intended, but I'm kind of loving it. But that is it for today's video, guys. Please leave a like down below if you like this video and subscribe to see more content from me. I will be weekly vlogging during this readathon, so yeah, make sure to click the bell icon if you want to be notified when I do post. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!